A rare moment of defiance in China. Angry residents on the steps of a municipal government building in the city of Buzhou. Their sign says, "Give me back my home. The flood was caused by floodwater discharge, not by heavy rainfall." At some point, men with police shields dispersed the crowd. The incident took place after deadly floods caused by the heaviest rains to hit northeastern China in 140 years. A typhoon that killed dozens of people in and around the Chinese capital, Beijing, forcing the evacuation of more than 1 million people from their homes. Over the last 2 weeks, these 3 provinces all saw dramatic flooding. But we're learning that some communities weren't just damaged by a natural disaster. The small city of Buzhou, where the protest took place, was deliberately flooded by authorities following a government disaster plan aimed at protecting bigger cities like Beijing and Tianjin. At 2 a.m. on August 1st, authorities activated a flood control plan, releasing water from dams into flood storage and detention zones. They then had to evacuate more than 800,000 people living in those zones, which quickly flooded. State TV showed the Communist Party chief of Hebei province touring the disaster area, instructing subordinates to reduce flooding pressure on Beijing and vowing to resolutely be the capital's moat. In the event of a crisis, experts say countries often plan to redirect rising water, but usually towards flood zones that are unpopulated.
It seems like a planning problem. Somebody allowed development or overdevelopment in an area that was designated to be a flood control zone.
Provincial governments thanked evacuees for their sacrifice, adding, "History will record your contribution." That's cold comfort to people who've seen their homes and livelihoods destroyed for the greater good.
Nearly all the factories in our area were seriously damaged. 99% of the factories have little hope of salvaging the losses.
Under Chinese rules, people are entitled to compensation of 70% of the value of property submerged in flood control areas. Experts say planning for the next extreme weather disaster will only get harder.
I think the entire world is scrambling to get prepared for the problems climate change is unfolding onto us.
Which seems like an almost impossible challenge. Now, Aaron, there is some good news for Beijing and northeastern China. There's a tropical storm that our colleagues at CNN Weather say it's losing power. But there's a separate storm system approaching Beijing from the west that the meteorologists say is carrying a lot of water and could dump 2 to 4 inches of rain on this already flood-struck area as early as Friday night and Saturday, while these areas are still trying to recover from floods that killed dozens of people. The controversy over the deliberate flooding of these communities has been heavily censored on Chinese social media and on the internet, and I might add, on CNN. We have a live camera up showing our live feed inside China, and that went to bars, as you can see here, as soon as our report began.
You know, it's really interesting there. And then at the very end, right, when you just started talking as if it was a weather report, it came back. And now it just cut out.
When a nearby building caught fire, the family made a decision that likely saved their lives. They climbed over the seawall and into the ocean to escape the rushing flames.
My 12-year-old Kavika, brave kid, strong kid, did so good. He's like, "I'll take this bag and I'll go swim with it in the water. You guys have to have the kids." So we jumped in the water. Waves started to come in and we're basically crashing into the rocks there. So we swam and tread water there, holding the kids until we couldn't. We were too tired. We were too tired to swim and tread water anymore. So we swam back into shore and used the rocks and the seawall as a barrier against the flames.
In one of the bags, Goebel had a Pokemon bedsheet. They used that sheet, wet from the ocean, to protect the family from flying embers, while huddled on the seawall for hours in the dark.
My wife stuffed our youngest Caleb right up under her shirt, and we covered them all up with that wet sheet and just hunkered down.
First responders found the family early the next morning and took them to a shelter.
You are playing with the rice? Wow. Is it fun?
Goebel and his family are now staying in a hotel for the next month as he plans to move off the island for the first time in 17 years.
We had our home here, we made it a nice home, and we made a nice life here, a really nice life here. It's completely starting over. I stay positive and think of it as, a blank slate.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back to our channel. This is TSMA Pagalia Atara. And before we start, please, besties, follow all my TSMA family on smil.com. Today, we have a very important message to share with you all. As you may have heard, China is currently facing devastating floods, and the beautiful island of Maui is being ravaged by wildfires. So our hearts go out to all those affected by these natural disasters. So it's times like these that reminds us of the fragility of life and the importance of coming together to help those in need. Besties, we believe that now is the time for compassion, for reaching out and making a difference. It's not just about sending thoughts and prayers, but taking full action, besties, to support our fellow human beings. Besties, we urge you all to join us in this outreach to help the people affected by these natural disasters. Together, we can make a significant impact with the Lord. Besties, in times of crisis, it's natural to question why these things happen. We believe that these events serve as a reminder that there is a higher power, a one true God who created all these things, besties. It's in times like these that we can turn to God, Jesus Christ, for help and guidance. You see, life is too short to delay seeking salvation and finding hope in Him. You see, there is a Bible verse that resonates with the situation we find ourselves in. And it says, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and will heal their lands." 2 Chronicles chapter 4 verse 14. This verse reminds us that if we turn away from our wicked ways and seek God, He will hear our prayers and bring healing to our lands. We, TSMA, encourage everyone, especially the leaders of nations, to reconcile with God and to turn away from their wicked ways. Let us come together and ask for forgiveness and guidance, besties. You see, and for the strength to rebuild and restore what has been lost. It's time. It's time to act now, to make a decision to help those in need, and to not wait for tomorrow, because time is short. Besties, you see, salvation is not something to be put off for another day. It is something we can embrace right now. It is something we can embrace right now. You see, Jesus Christ is the only way, the only solution, besties, the only salvation we need. Let us come back to God, turn from our wicked ways, and seek His forgiveness. Besties, together with God, we can make a difference, not just in the lives of those affected by these disasters, but in our own lives as well. So besties, I encourage everyone, let's unite in compassion, in prayer, and in action. Let's extend a helping hand to those in need, and let's remember that there is always hope. Together with God, we can bring healing to this land, to the world, restoration, besties, and love to those who are suffering. Besties, thank you for joining us today, and let's make a difference in the world. Remember, salvation is now. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. I will see you all next time. God bless you all.